We got our first big snowfall here in the snowiest region on Earth. Literally, Aomori, Japan is considered the snowiest place on Earth, and Japan receives more snowfall than anywhere else according to multiple sources. What started as a hiking trip ended up with no hiking due to how quickly the snow levels increased, and it turned into us sliding into a few guardrails on our way down the mountain and having our car towed at the end of the day, but it was still a memorable day and not just in a bad way. Here's what happened. Please don't forget to subscribe for more videos on travel, but also videos on money and minimalism. And check out the rest of the videos on the channel. Aomori City is technically the snowiest place in the world, but the Aomori region overall is just extremely snowy. We were about an hour away from Aomori City whenever we headed out for our hike. Some people hear that northern Japan is the snowiest place on Earth, and they'll say, what about Antarctica or Alaska or whatever? Well, it turns out many spots in those places are just too cold to snow on average. Aomori is at the exact right temperature to stay warm enough to snow and cold enough that the snow doesn't melt, hence snowiest place on Earth. So we went up into the Hakoda Mountains to go for a hike, not to be confused with Hokkaido, which is the northern prefecture of Japan. This is the Hakoda Mountains, which is in Aomori. We had a light dusting of snow at sea level, and we knew it would be snowing harder on the mountain, but we weren't expecting what we ran into. That wasn't a pun about the guardrails we crashed into. We weren't expecting that either, but we just weren't expecting the amount of snow. As we started to make our way up, we noticed the snow getting heavier and heavier. We kept coming to closed road signs, which probably should have been a sign to turn around, but there were other cars out, so we followed them up and finally found a ski spot at the top of the mountain. Turns out this ended up being the first day they opened for skiing and snowboarding since the snow was so high. Up on top of the mountain they had got a little over 2 feet within the last 24 hours. So while there was still some snow on the ground to start with, this was the first big snow. And I noticed that whenever I tried to get out of the car, I thought my door was frozen shut, and it turns out the snow was so high it was actually covering my door, so I had to push past it. The snow was really nice, and driving up the mountain wasn't so bad. We got to see the Winter Wonderland in all its glory, and it was beautiful. But coming back down, due to the steep roads and the snow and the ice, we did slide into a guardrail. We mostly laughed it off since no one was injured and we didn't hit it too hard. It didn't really do much damage to the car. It was more of a slow slide. We kept making our way down the mountain until we came around a corner and there was a ridiculously steep hill and a very sharp curve, which is a terrible mixture with the snow and the ice. Everyone in the car knew immediately that we weren't going to make it around this corner and we weren't going to stop. But this time we hit the guardrail quite a bit harder. Still no one was hurt, but we couldn't say the same about the car. At first it wasn't drivable because the tire was literally jammed into the tire well up against the fender. My friend who was driving was able to get the tire moving enough to get down to a safer spot. So another friend and I got out of the car and walked down to find this safe spot that we were going to try to get the car into. Unfortunately, the trip ended into us having to get the car towed and having a friend come pick us up, but it was definitely memorable. And it was pretty awesome to see the absurd amount of snow. Even whenever we got out of the car, it was snowing so hard it was almost annoying. But it was pretty cool. I've just never seen it snowing to the point of where it feels like someone's dumping buckets of snow on you. It still hasn't snowed too much down here at sea level, but I'm expecting well over 100 inches this winter if it's anything like any other winter they've ever had here. This is our first winter here, so I'll get to see if I truly do love snow like I seem to think I do, or if I get tired of it pretty quickly. More to follow on that. I am curious to know how you feel about the snow, so share in the comments. If you've ever been to northern Japan, if you've ever seen the snow or lived in a snowy place, curious to know how you feel about it. Please don't forget to subscribe. That's all for today. I will see you next week.